What's going on, guys? Time for another Sunday conversation. Two subjects for today. One has been posted on a couple of times in my Q&A sessions. I figure I'd talk through that. And then I have a failure project. Not a full failure yet, but on the opposite side of last week's video, I wanted to show you where I have some struggles every once in a while. And I've posted a couple times on this, but not sure everyone's seen it. And just wanted to sort of give you guys a status update because this is everyone's favorite and just haven't gotten there. So subject one is project failures that I've taken on that haven't worked out. And I've sitting on one in my lap that I'll pull up here in a second. And then the second is guitar pedals, and why are guitar pedals so widely advertised today, and why is everyone talking about them, and how did that come to be? And I'll talk to you about some of the economics of that, and it'll be a little bit of an interesting tale, just some insight that I know of as I've been playing with stuff and where we're going in the music industry today. So my project failure has been this PRS project that I've been sitting on for almost a year, maybe even a little bit longer. I took on this project and I thought it would be an easy refinish. It was a Paul Reed Smith player's guitar. The guy bought it from on eBay, had beat the hell out of it. It was all chipped out on the side, like full-on gouges, and the neck had some gouges in the back as well. And I wanted it to be like the Les Paul Restore, but they use this epoxy sealer on the guitar to seal it. And that stuff is just the biggest pain in the ass to get out. Literally, I sand at least a 1/16 of this off. And once I got the body clean, because I wanted to put a real stain on it. So this is the Dragon's Breath stain. This is awesome. This is probably one of the better finishes that I've done. The problem, it's on a guitar that is kind of a piece. I wanted to get the top clean because it is a beautiful flame top. Very nice Eastern hard rock top. But as I was sanding, it takes so long to get the epoxy sealer out. I think it's called Full Blast or Fuller Proof Epoxy, or I don't remember. I'll put the link below where you can get it. And it seeps in, and they didn't do full binding on this. And the weird thing about Paul Reed Smith is that this guitar had tinted lacquer on the outside. So as the guitar was chipped out, you couldn't just put a piece of lacquer, or you couldn't stain it and seal it. You had to like strip it. So as I'm stripping it and I continue to get in it, I was like, I can't believe this isn't like an easy repair. It's obviously not like a nitro guitar. So where I had a lot of the chip outs, it became just this huge mess. And so I got it stained. I put one coat of sealer on it, and then the back had all these chip outs, and I ended up using like a brown and a black and just a tint of red to sort of get it to match up. And I don't know if you can tell, but since it didn't have the real binding, the full binding, the sealer locked in a color onto the side, and it looked terrible as I was sanding it. And I didn't want to resand the whole body because then I just get this weird inconsistent look. So after that Les Paul Restore video took off, I was like, okay, finally I have a reason to finish this. And it's got one thick coat of 2K on, and I'll put another thick coat on and be done. I'll sand off some of the ridges, put a light coat on. This is sort of that thick coat. There's a run right there and a couple on the side. That's the serial number, so it is a real one. And then I'm not sure what I'll do with the headstock yet. I'll probably just flush it and then get a logo. But this has just been a huge failure in my book. I wanted the binding to look right. I don't like that look. You can't really tell in the video, but some of the paint curls up just slightly because it wasn't sealed properly on my end. And then the fretboard was totally gouged out. So if you look at the fretboard, it kind of comes in a little bit as you get down. The guy was a total grinder that I bought this from, or from whoever he had it. And so I put stainless steel frets in, and I had to really get in on this side. And when I get frustrated on projects, I just let them sit. I just put them aside. With the Les Paul Restore, I put the guitar aside for a while as well, just because I didn't have the energy to do it. Like when I get beat up, I just like say pass and I don't work on it. But love the amount of attention that the Restore got, and this one will be posted full video as well. I just really love how well I got that color scheme. The Angelus dies look outstanding, and I got it real light down here, which is what I was going for. So it looks great. I just don't like that look, you know, without having the full binding. But lessons learned, I will never work on a Paul Reed Smith guitar again in terms of doing a repair or trying to do a restore. It was just killing me, literally killing me. I think I paid like $900 for it. It came with a hard shell case. At one point, I almost put this back up for auction before I sprayed it. I was just so aggravated. But I just put projects to the side if I get angry, and we'll come back. But that's the risk and reward video from last week. I wanted to give you guys sort of another view of a risk that, to me, I don't think it's panned out. It looks good, and I'll get it there. But I would not be taking these things on for restore. I know they'll take guitars and refinish them for folks, but I don't know how they get that stuff out. I got to do some more exploring, or maybe one of my nice viewers who knows can share the knowledge. But we're getting there with this one. So that's my sort of first point on risk and reward failures. I'd say this one is close to being a failure for me. I'm just not happy with it. The second topic I wanted to sort of chat with you guys about today was pedals, and why are pedals so much more popular than they were years ago, and why is it like everyone's doing pedals, and why are they advertised? Pedals are incredibly cheap to make, and you can charge a decent buck for them, so you've got a lot of money coming through. There's a bunch of designs that are very similar. And they'll do even contract pedals, so it's the same pedal rebranded across, you know, 5 or 6 different guys. They'll just use a different case or whatever. Pedals are, you know, PCBs, and you can sort of punch these out relatively quickly in China. They have a great system of making this stuff really cheap, and you're charging, I don't know, let's say $5 in costs. Charging $100 for the pedal, put some awesome marketing to it, and you've got some really quick and easy things to sell. So that's why pedals are so much more prevalent today than they were in the past. It was more expensive to do pedals back in the day. They weren't as sort of cranked out as they can be today, and even guys can do custom wiring in-house and print their own boards where you couldn't have done that before. You know, a lot of guys have CNCs, and you can use CNC machine to print the circuit board, and then you just do the assembly. And I've built a couple of pedals. If you click through some of my videos, a couple of guys, there's some really great pedal kits on eBay. I've got one I'm sitting on. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But that's why you're seeing so many pedals out in the market today. Low cost, high margin, and everyone has a little bit of money to put towards pedals. That's why all the big companies are doing pedals now, because they've got the manufacturing where you can still make money on them. So that's one of the things I've noticed and seen over the years. You know, used to have racks and maybe 1 or 2 pedals, but now there's pedal boards, and they're doing it because there's a lot of money made there, and so you can spend the money back into marketing. Guitars, they haven't made the huge breakthroughs on guitars because, you know, we're running out of good wood for the front, and this I think is mahogany, but it's a smaller less thick piece. And there's still so much labor intense that goes into making the guitar, finishing the guitar, buffing the guitar, buying the pickups, putting all that together. Like, that's pretty labor intensive. With a pedal, you know, between 1 or 2 people, you can get an assembly line going and crank them out, and then have a pretty high price point to charge from. So the reference price points on pedals, you know, start at $49, $59, $69 is sort of like your entry level pedal. And then you get into some really high-end pedals, $200-$300. Like, there's not, in terms of the manufacturing, there's not that much difference in terms of how to you put it together. And then the guys that got some of their proprietary designs, and they're charging even more. You know, once you get that stuff going and make them, it's easy to get going. So that's why you're seeing so many pedals in the market today. And they've got the manufacturing out right, and there's still money to be made in the pedal market. Not necessarily guitars as much, but, you know, why is Fender or Gibson doing pedals? Like, there's money to be made there. So just a little bit of knowledge for you guys on why you're seeing pedals today. I'm not going to demo anything. I'm going to take this back into the basement and do some sanding out of these knots and runs, and Wednesday we'll put the final coat on. I'm hoping to have this assembled by the new year. Let's see, it's the 15th today, so give myself 3 weeks potentially, maybe. We'll see. But have a great Sunday, guys. Get ready for Christmas. I'm assuming this video won't get all that well played because everyone's got their last minute shopping. Get your wife or spouse something nice before you go into the basement and spend all your time down there. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and Merry Christmas.